against Russia.
We must use everything we have together to force the aggressor to stop. And only then do we have a real chance that this arms race will not end in catastrophe for all of us. If it takes weapons to do it, if it takes pressure on Russia, then it must be done.
Gold is trading at $3,738.83 an ounce. The rand is at 17.33 to the dollar, 23.32 to the pound, 20.35 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.01 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the M1 South right after the Crown turn-off delays coming out of Carr Street. And if you're traveling on the N3 North, we still have got bumper-to-bumper traffic between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange, and that's due to roadworks.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the Constitutional Court could confirm a crucial High Court ruling on rape and consent today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, Bonjour. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning, and I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday yesterday. We start with the 702 open line. As always, you can give us a call on 011-883-0702. If you prefer to send a WhatsApp voice note, you can do so on 072-702-1702. What's going on with the Patriotic Alliance leader, McKenzie? He was on Facebook again, live, yesterday, talking about Kunene and the demand that he be reinstated as Johannesburg MMC for transport, or else the PA will withdraw from any coalition with the ANC.
And we will form a coalition with the DA. I'm telling you today. We don't have that thing of now we'll never work with the DA in next election. We will form a coalition with the DA if they're going to treat us like that, this ANC. We can't allow them to treat us like that. They probably think because I'm a minister, they can do what they like with the PA. Eka. Yeah, you guys got men jokes. Show us. You don't put Kenny Kunene back. We will leave every coalition we have with the ANC, starting with JB Marks. Within 7 days, if Kunene is not back in his position, every PA member in JB Marks, every PA coalition with the ANC, you withdraw with immediate effect. Stay 1 day, 1 hour after instruction has gone out, that you must withdraw from every coalition we have with the ANC. We are not going to be told by Dada. Who does Dada think he is? I said every coalition, you withdraw. I want to see one patriot that shows us after the SG sends you a message to say withdraw. You still didn't see that thing within 1 hour.
So, it's so weird. Like, why politicians don't just sit down and talk to each other? Remember, Julius Malema once made a similar threat. When was it? There was a time when Dunga was removed as an MMC, yes, in Ekurhuleni. And I remember Julius Malema made a threat. Maybe we should try find that clip as well. Said, if Dunga is not reappointed there, We're going to withdraw. Every single person must leave. And what happened? It never happened. That never happened. And that's what I thought when I heard Gayton McKenzie say this. And I thought, these politicians and the threats. And you know what? I did ask Kunene, because I spoke to Kunene on SABC earlier this week. And I said to him, if the 7 days deadline lapses, what happens? Is Gayton McKenzie going to resign as minister? And initially, when he was responding to that question, he wasn't sure. He was like, well, yeah, until I had to push him to say it wouldn't make sense for Gayton McKenzie not to resign as the Minister of Arts and Culture, but expect other people to resign from their positions that have come as a result of the PA joining the Government of National Unity. But also, the Patriotic Alliance, have they even spoken to the ANC before they issued these threats? Because the ANC now says Kunene resigned, and since he has been cleared by that investigation that was commissioned by the PA, there hasn't been any official communication that has been cleared or that has been communicated to the ANC that this man is cleared, he's ready to come back to the job. So the ANC is saying, why are you not talking to us instead of going on Facebook and going to the media when you can directly have a conversation with us? So let me know your thoughts on the latest on that on 011-883-0702. Here's another story that I want us to keep a close eye on the open line. So there was a story that the Daily Maverick ran about 2 or so weeks ago of the current chief of staff in the office of the Minister of Social Development, Sisisi Tolashe. This chief of staff, listen to this, guys. This chief of staff is 22 years old, right? She happens to be the niece of the minister's special advisor, Mwako Khatla. And this 22-year-old, her qualifications for the role are so questionable. Listen to this. She has a diploma in information technology from Rosebank College in Limpopo, which is great. Her CV reveals that she has 1 year's experience. And you know what experience she has? Experience as manager, sales, and marketing, according to her CV, for the Rosebank College in Limpopo. What did her duties entail as manager, sales, and marketing for 1 year? The CV says her duties included, and I quote here, distributing promotional material and providing information about the college. Those were her duties. That's what included in her CV. She is now the chief of staff for the Minister of Social Development at a salary of about 1.4 million rand annually in taxpayers' money. The Daily Maverick is reporting this morning that actually the legal department or the human resources department actually warned the minister that this woman doesn't qualify to be a chief of staff, because that's a very senior role and she doesn't have the qualifications or even the experience for her to be put in a position like that. And apparently that was ignored. It clearly was ignored, because the department and the minister went ahead and appointed this woman as the chief of staff. The director general clearly ignored that. Now here's another layer. This 22-year-old, her uncle, we're told, Khatla, previously worked for the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, also under Sisisi Tolashe. And he was charged there with 3 counts of gross misconduct when it was discovered that in addition to his job in Tolashe's office, he was also working for another government business entity, the Northwest Transport Investments Trading. So he basically drew salaries from both workplaces without disclosing it. And that's in contravention of the Public Service Act. Nothing has happened to him. He's now the minister's advisor, and now the niece has gotten a job as a chief of staff, according to these reports. So the Daily Maverick is now reporting that this chief of staff, this 22-year-old, has now been quietly replaced in her position. So they've now removed her because they saw that, because I also interviewed the Public Service Commissioner, Professor Somato Tafikeni, and I told him, this is crazy. How do you have a 22-year-old who doesn't have the right qualifications nor the experience to be in a position like that? But just because her uncle, who is the minister's advisor, somehow, because her uncle is the minister's advisor, then she gets to have a job like that that's paid by you and I as taxpayers. And even Soma Totafikane, who's the public service commissioner, was shocked by that. So the Department of Social Development has quietly decided to remove her from that position, as if that somehow helps them evade accountability. That's not going to work. I've tried to get a hold of the DG. As always, he always has excuses. That's one DG I've ever come across in my career who always has excuses before he comes to do interviews. So he's given us an excuse again today. He says he's walking into a meeting, but we're going to keep hounding him. And if it means I can pre-record an interview with him at midnight, if that's when he's available, that's exactly what I will do so that I can come and play it for you. At 10 o'clock, though, we're going to do the Hanging Out feature. Today, we're going to be hanging out with award-winning jazz artist Nomfundo, a very much celebrated jazz vocalist, a composer, and educator. I mean, she's a senior lecturer in jazz studies at UCT, and you can pick this up when you're listening to her music. We're going to get to know her better between 10 and 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we do our Thursday dialogue. Today, we're going to be focusing on the 2 weeks of the Madlanga Commission. What have we learned from the testimonies of KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and the testimony of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola? What were they able to reveal and back up with evidence? And what were they not able to back up with evidence? And what more evidence can we expect to back up some of what they have shared? I've invited some journalists that have been sitting through both their testimonies, and they'll take us through that between 11 and 12 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Morning, Clement and team. I'm a Parayero report. We have heard this song before from the other Blue Party. Nothing new, stays the same. If a person wants to do something, do it and say, I've done this because I want you to reinstate this person. If you want this to continue, then reinstate the person. Not do this, I'm going to do this if after between 7 days. Song of the year, man.
Clearly, I think Minister McKenzie has too much time on his hands because there's too little international sports games and public holidays where he can go and congratulate and send condolences. Yeah, if I'm Cyril, I would move him to a more a better profile or portfolio where he can be kept busy 24/7. This guy has too much time on his hands, and I have never voted for him, and I will never vote for him. He has an arrogance that's shy away from nothing. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Hey, morning, Clement. Hey, with this thing of the PA. But yesterday, Ken Kunene on Shole Mashab on your program, he did say that they have talked to the ANC. They have talked to the Premier. They have talked to the ANC, I think it's the interim structure of Gauteng. They've even talked to the SG. The SG have instructed Morero to do what has been told. But Morero is ducking down. He doesn't want to appoint Kenny because he have already promised the position to EFF. So he did said yesterday, Ken, on your show, that they have talked to the ANC. They've already talked to the structures, even to Fikile Mbalula himself. They've talked to him. That's why now they've come back and say, in 7 days, if this is not be done, therefore they are walking away. Thank you, Clement.
Kamu, you are calling from Johannesburg. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement and 702. First and foremost, I'd just like to say I'm glad I never chose journalism because I don't know how you can sit in an interview where people just lie, and they think that we are from their villages, like we just believe these things. But in saying that, the DA, not the DA, the PA has taken script from the DA, as everybody knows. they have no capacity to make any type of threats. And I don't know, we are still talking about 7 days. That announcement was not made this morning, so we're speaking about less than 6 days now. Does this mean that Gayton is also going to resign as a minister? I think Mapantit, these former jailbirds, they really need to get out of the political space. We need to have a better caliber of politician. And this is not the type of people I want my children admiring one day to say, well, you can go to jail and you can still be a minister at the highest level. So they're not going anywhere. And Kenya, I just want to say, wherever they hear this, there's nothing wrong with knowing criminals. But to come and tell us that you went there for an interview with journalists, please, we are not from your village. Thanks.
Kamu. Wow. So I do think that we need to be fair to people who have gone to jail and have changed their lives. Unless there's, of course, evidence that contradicts that statement, right? I do think it's unfair for us to think, yeah, these jail beds. We must decide, are we living in a society that actually accepts that there are people that can go to jail, they can learn from their mistakes, they can be rehabilitated and come out and live a completely different life? It's like people who go to church or, who get born again or who get baptized, as Catholics or whatever, or they start going to, they've changed their religion, whatever the point is, and they used to do certain things before that. Do we then still hold them accountable for the past sins and mistakes when they have been held accountable? I think that's unfair. Unless, of course, there is evidence that suggests that these people who have been to prison are still doing the same thing that they went to prison for, then I would understand from where you're coming from. But to just call them jail beds because you disagree with them, I think is a bit unfair. But to your point about Gayton McKenzie, is he going to resign? I would like to see that. Maybe let him be the first one. When the 7 day lapses, let him be the first one that resigns as the Arts and Culture Minister. I'd like to see that. But also, if the ANC has also been instructed in Johannesburg that you have to process this, reappoint Kunene as MMC, why is the ANC then stalling in Johannesburg? William, you're calling us from Tembisa. Good morning.
My brother.
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, any arrangement, my brother, that it's not regulated, it's always difficult for it to be managed. Now, at some point, I remember Cocta and the deputy president, they were having this discussion about drafting a regulation that will manage this coalition. Because if these people will just decide today and say, I'm moving out, that affects the stability of the municipality, Clement.
Which tells you that they don't care about that, William.
Exactly.
They don't care about that. They care about their positions.
Exactly. And that's where the basic service delivery, it is at. Because if every day you are affected by a pothole, Clement, when you go to SABC, myself, if I leave Tembisa, my brother, it's as if I'm leaving a village. There are potholes everywhere. There's a storage that is just spewing all over the road. So if we do not have that regulation that will then make sure that it manages this coalition, because by look of things, Clement, we are moving to coalition, whether we like it or not. And the other thing, Clement, maybe just to in passing, Clement, my worry is about this lady in social development. And what we want as well is to say, maybe public service department, that one that regulates and also public service employment, to say, what is the basic requirements for one to become a chief director?
No, it's clear. It's clear, William. It's there in the regulations. It's clear what kind of qualifications you need to have before you can be a chief director or a chief of staff.
Then the minister insisted, even though she was told.
She insisted. But for me, it's not just the minister we must hold accountable, because this minister, honestly, I've never even seen her do an interview. So she runs away from interviews. The only time you hear her speak is when she's there in parliament or she's addressing some event. I'm running after the DG now, because the DG is the one who officialized the insistence of the minister. Because even when the human resources said to the DGA, this person you guys want to appoint doesn't qualify to be chief of staff. He has 1 year experience from a college, was distributing pamphlets. You're making her chief of staff to earn 1.4 million rand, and the DG still signed off on her appointment. Why did he do that?
Exactly. Ntate Manyathela, you remember what the commissioner, the police, Ntate Masemola said? there are some decision or there are some instruction that we are given and we do not agree with, but of which it's a career limiting, because I can tell you, Clement, I'm not speaking for these technocrats. But at some point, my brother, they are given instruction that they do not agree with, and they know, and they then tell their political heads to say, what we are doing is wrong. And let me tell you, political heads at some point, they don't care. That's why these accounting officers, they are the ones that are frequenting the court as we speak. Some of them, they have signed things that they know nothing about, or they knew, but because they thought they will be protected for a longer time, unfortunately, now the system is dealing with them.
Yeah, William, absolutely. You know, I interviewed Somato Tafikeni, the Public Service Commissioner, also this week, because we were talking about what Fanima Semola said, that sometimes, you know, as technocrats, as public officials, they get these unlawful instructions from the executive authority, right? The ministers, the politicians, and sometimes they do tell them that, no, this is not fine, but they insist, and they end up as public officials implementing those unlawful instructions because that can be career limiting. But I do think that we can't easily justify that, guys. And I've got sympathy, and I've said this on Tuesday, I have sympathy for so many public officials, including Fanima Semola, who have been given unlawful instructions, and they try to reason with the minister. I mean, Fanima Semola even tried to go to the president, and he didn't get any assistance until he had to say, okay, fine, if we do implement this unlawful instruction, let's at least do it in this way to try and minimize the impact on the dockets that were already being processed. But here's the thing. Legally speaking, you have no ground to stand on. The minute you have implemented an unlawful decision, you can't come back and say, yeah, but I was put under pressure to do that, unless you've got things in writing. So Somato Tafikeni was actually giving public officials some tips on what you need to do when you're receiving unlawful instructions. Put it on email. Show that you objected to it on email. Put everything else in writing. And I think the minute we start justifying actions of public officials, then we're going to be in trouble. Because all of them are always going to come and claim that, yeah, but the minister is the one who said I must do this. And then what? We say, okay, that's fine. Even though your actions have led to the department losing lots of money, your actions have led to people being appointed that do not qualify for those positions. Where does accountability land for you? I think that's a serious question to ask. So yeah, the minister must be asked serious questions, Minister of Social Development. But this DG, who received a letter that said, don't appoint this young woman, she doesn't have experience, and he still went ahead and appointed her. And by the way, this is a department that spent 3 million rand. 3 million rand. To send people there in New York. Remember, I spoke about this when I was on the breakfast show just the other day. They spend so much money to send delegates to go to some conference in New York. And when you ask, okay, what do we get from that? Because you're spending this money every year sending these delegates. What do we get from that? They are not able to even tell you what's the value of that investment. Hey, yeah. I get it. It's about tobacco government. It's 28 after 9.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, SA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is hopeful. But
love can make you do unbelievable things.
Is love shocking?
What kind of love is this?
Is love blind?
If love was blind was a person, it would be Dr. Nandipa.
Is love worth it?
Her light was not there anymore.
Would you cross the line for love? Watch Beauty and the Bester, now playing only on Netflix. Basic plan from 99 Rand per month. T's and C's apply.
Away, could I courier this pair of custom flame graffiti chucks? One of a kind, bruh.
Sure, fire! Where your guy, my guy?
My recipe book, with all my secrets.
Those secrets are safe with us. Where your guy?
Can I send my beanbag chair? It's shaped like a fat cook.
Of course you can. Where your guy? With over 4,000 fast and flexible ways of couriering your parcel, locally and internationally, whatever you need couriered, we're your guy. The Courier Guy. Visit thecourierguide.co.za.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Akani Simbine Foundation is dedicated to building brighter futures for children by focusing on sport, education, and welfare. Tomorrow on 702 Drive, we'll be in conversation with the Akani Simbine Foundation to find out how they are uplifting the next generation and how the Discam Foundation is helping fuel their mission to empower South Africa's youth. Don't miss this inspiring discussion about the power of collaboration. Remember, every swipe of your Discam or Discam Baby City benefit card supports many great initiatives across the country. Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. Only on 702. 9:31, time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Lisa, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Parts of KwaZulu-Natal are experiencing another wet day as heavy rains continues to hit communities there. The South African Weather Service has issued warnings for disruptive rainfall across the province. Disaster management teams, municipal officials and emergency services have been placed on standby. 9 suspected abalone poachers are expected to appear in court today following their arrest near Robben Island. This follows a multi-million rand bust where a man and a woman were also arrested earlier in the week. Police divers and the SAPS drone unit were called on Tuesday to help locate the group. And an airport in Denmark used for commercial and military flights has been forced to close after drones were spotted in its airspace. Incoming and departing flights from Aalborg Airport were halted following the incident last night. Police say more than one drone was sighted in the airport's airspace, adding that it was not known if they were the same ones that affected Copenhagen Airport earlier in the week. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N3 North in the Kelvin area, we've got roadworks taking place right near the Baklu turnoff. They are causing delays coming out of Vincent Chabalala Road. About a 20-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout. If you're travelling along the Mike Whiten South, we've got bumper-to-bumper traffic between Empire Road and the Crown turnoff. An accident is reported there right after the Crown turnoff. As a result, the M2 West is heavily backed up towards the Crown interchange. And then travelling in Shirley, some delays on Malibongo Drive towards the N1, and we've got faulty traffic lights reported in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 and Beyersnodia Drive, bound to cause delays. Please be on the lookout there. While travelling in Devland, we've got some delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue due to faulty traffic lights as well. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9:33. Let's continue with your calls on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Good morning, Clement. Eric here from Aiken south of Johannesburg. Yeah, well, it goes with luck and connections in this thing of being employed. It's almost 4 years now. I've completed my diploma and my internship with the Johannesburg Health District. Still nothing even today. Like I've even went to an extent of applying for each and every vacancy that is there, even though I'm qualified as an HR practitioner. But no opportunities. You apply, that's the first and the last you will hear from anyone. No correspondence, nothing, no jobs. So I think that one was very lucky, perhaps. The one for the niece of the minister, maybe.
Morning, Madi Major. Hey, Clement, a lot is happening under Ramaphosa's administration. No, man. The person they say was coming to save the ANC. People who are unqualified are given posts. A lot is happening. I saw the story of this 22-year-old girl. I also read about it. She doesn't have qualification, but she's a chief of staff, earning more than $1 million. Whereas we have people who are qualified, sitting at home doing nothing. No. A lot is happening under Ramaphosa's administration. No. It can't be like this. And everything is happening as if nothing has happened. No, man. No, ANC can do better, man. No. No, a lot is happening. A lot is happening under Ramaphosa's, and Jacob Zuma was better, man. Because yeah. No, Mwaku and Joburg, have a great day.
Mwaku, the irony here is that the uncle of this chief of staff, this 22-year-old, the name of the uncle is Mr. Khatla. What's the first name? Isn't the first name Mwaku as well? Kimwako. Yes, your name is similar to the name of this advisor for the minister, whose niece was appointed chief of staff for the minister. Yeah, the drama here is not just that this woman doesn't even qualify to be a chief of staff and now earns 1.4 million rand from just working at a college in Limpopo where she's distributing pamphlets, and she did that for a year, and then she comes and okay, you don't make the stuff up. Her uncle was drawing 2 salaries. Her uncle was drawing 2 salaries from government. He was found to have contravened the Public Management Act. And what happens to her uncle? Nothing has happened to him. He was charged with 3 counts of gross misconduct when it was discovered that this uncle is getting 2 salaries from government. And then what happened to him? Well, Minister of Social Development says, I don't care about that. Come over here. Come be my special advisor. And then he comes and then says, listen, Minister, I've got a niece who's 22-year-old. I mean, do you think that the niece got appointed there without the uncle knowing? John, you are calling us from Kibla Park. Good morning.
Good morning, Madimecha.
Sure.
I'd like to start by saying that, I've almost seen it all, and I've worked under different parties. And my starting point is they're all the same once they're in government. Let me give you an example, Madimecha. I was one of the senior managers in one of the municipalities. Let me not say who it is. And I got in my view, an unlawful instruction, the same instruction that General Masemula got. And I dug in my heels, and I said, I'm not going to implement this instruction. To my credit, I put my reservations in writing. But guess what? The very same party that everyone now is calling holy, one of their MMCs came to my office, walked down the corridors and says, you are going to implement this instruction. And I said, no, I'm not going to implement the instruction, sir. He says, you are going to implement this instruction. And I said, I'm not going to implement this instruction because the implications are that you are now going to have to subsidize this consultant or developer using the municipality's money. And guess what he says? He says, I don't care, you are going to implement the instruction. And I said, no, I'm not. And then that's a last resort, which is what General Masemula needed to do. I put my reservations once again in writing.
Good.
And I said, I put it in writing and I said, okay, you want to implement the what you are giving me an instruction on, contrary to all the policies and directives. Now, these are the pros and cons. And then I left it at that, right? But I myself did not sign off on the execution of that. But I then got wind that that which they wanted me to do was done. And then I sat there in my office and I said, okay, let's see how this pans out. And guess what? Exactly as I advised, Now the municipality had to go and look for money and sort out the problem. So, I would like to urge public servants, the guys that are public practitioners in the local, municipal, or national. You really need, it's not about whether you are doing something that is career limiting, but stick to your principles. And if your principles are such that you are at a corner, you can't put anything, put it in writing. Put it in writing so that if there are comebacks, then you can then say, but I told you.
Yeah.
And Dr. Fikeni was right. Put it in writing so that at least, even if you are doing something that is career limiting, it's something that you can come back later on.
Yeah, because legally speaking, it doesn't fly to just say, oh yeah, but he forced me to do this illegal act. No. What did you do? You've got to be able to demonstrate that. What did you do? That's why Professor Soma Fikeni says, make sure you put that thing in writing. It's very important. It's 90 minutes now before 10 o'clock. John in Kibla Park, thank you for your call. Chilidzi, Edmund, Rakwena, Mike, I see you. I'll start with your calls after the break.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
After a short migration, the family arrives at the premier resort, rich in food, drink, and entertainment. The young, freed from classroom captivity, head straight for Kids Club and the safety of the herd. The adult male meanders to the scuba center, while the matriarch basks by the pool.
Book your resort escape to Knysna, East London, Scottborough, or Sunny Pass at premierhotels.co.za.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
17 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's start with you, Edmund. You're calling from Soweto. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. How's it?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Clement, I just want to quickly comment on this chief of staff appointed the Minister of Social Development or whatever it is. Clement, my worry is when these people waste money like this, taxpayers' money like this, and when you try to get hold of them, they don't want to come for interview. Where are we going with this? And is our president really taking us serious? Why can't the president be seen to be decisive and sack some of these ministers for this kind of actions? So this is worrying, Clement. And now, this young lady, I don't have a problem if she had qualifications. She doesn't have qualifications at all. Will she pay all the money back that she was paid?
Yeah, because that's accountability, right?
Exactly, Clement. And what disturbs me is that the ANC doesn't seem to be serious, to take us serious. Not so long, they will be walking our streets here, canvassing for votes to vote for them. Am I gonna really go vote for them when there's such wastage?
Yeah. Well, Edmund, that's a question you and I have to ask ourselves, because are we naive enough to just have them come and just kiss your babies and have lunch with you, help you wash your dishes, because that's exactly what they're going to do when they campaign. Well, now what are you asking them? So as voters, when these parties come to us, are we actually asking, what happened to this person? Why didn't you guys say anything about the social development minister who had a chief of staff who didn't qualify? Like, do we ask them these questions, or do we sit there, we laugh with them, we get starstruck, and then we go vote for the same people that we're going to come back after elections and complain about? So where do we take accountability as voters, I suppose, is a question I'm asking. Rakwena, you're in Pretoria North. Hi.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Hey, Tzara.
Yeah, man, look, this thing of disappointment is not a new thing, really. You know, the whole public service has been used as a fiefdom by the ANC. If you remember, there was a time when the former President Zuma's daughter was also appointed as a...
I remember that.
Yeah. Now, you see, you have got this weakness in the system where you find that you have got these things of political appointments. Now, that loophole where ministers, for instance, are political appointments. That's why you end up with a minister who has got nothing to do with the army being a minister of defense, you know, in Zimutecha. Now, you can see the trend there. And then as you move along, you go to DIRCO, you find that almost 75% of our ambassadors are political appointments. They've got nothing to do with international relations, but they are there, they are ambassadors. They don't have those qualifications. And the people who are career international relations practitioners are actually put under them so that they can do the work, and these ones are just on holiday. Some even call it a retirement package. Now, these are things that have destroyed this country. Now, there are three things that I have noticed that are actually destroying this country, which actually makes it difficult why we should always be having both the RAS conferences and so on, looking for solutions. If you look at the tender system, that's one of the most vulnerable systems that has brought us to where we are, where corruption is all over the place, and they know it. And
that's why they defend it so much. I mean, every time the DA even proposes that we need to get rid of that system, they defend it because that's how they eat. Rakwena in Pretoria North, let's hear from other listeners. Thank you for your call. Chilidzi in Centurion, what do you think?
I think we have serious problems. But anyway, I think the other callers identified the problem correctly. Our problem is on our system, democratic systems. And as long as that doesn't change, we are still going to have the same problem where people will be appointed without qualifications and illegal instructions are given. But if we were, as the first step, change how we elect our president so that the president can be free of political parties, we elect the president directly like other democracies so that the president is accountable to the citizens directly, not to the political parties. Because if you look at the Masemola thing, Masemola goes to the president to complain about the illegal instructions being given. But it's going to the person who's in the same clique, who was even a fundraiser of the president campaign. Do you think they're going to fight over Masemola's thing? They'll protect each other forever. But if the president was independent of the party thing, was not a comrade of it's something else.
Hey, we're in trouble. Yeah, Chilidzi, we're in trouble. Now, in fact, someone was asking me earlier here that, hey, Clement, sorry if I missed it. This is on the WhatsApp line. It says, the last time I tuned into your show, you were waiting on your producers to fact-check the relationship between Bejani Chauke, who is Ramaphosa's former advisor, and the president's nephew from the first marriage, whom the president has said he doesn't know, Morgan Maumela. That's the man who has been implicated in corruption and irregularities in the tenders that he has received. from the Tembisa Hospital. Well, in fact, I did have a quick chat with Jeff Wicks. And Jeff Wicks, remember, there's a listener who alerted us to Jeff Wicks' book and what it had revealed about the relationship between Bejani Chawuk and Morgan Maumela. So what I want to do is I want to actually read that book. I want to read that book so I can come and have Jeff Wicks on the show so he can explain in detail that kind of relationship. But yeah, so far he has confirmed. He's confirmed exactly what that listener was alerting us to. But this is very deeper than we think. And that's why these people have not been arrested for the longest time. And thank God to General Mkhwanazi and the political Killings Task team, because had they not come to Gauteng to try and help the detectives here, would we know? Would we be here now? Where there's so much that's making sense now around this syndicate and these business leaders that are linked and the protection that they may have received from above. I mean, if these people who have received multi-million rand, you should see the properties that they own. They own luxury boats. Like, you know, when people actually use money they didn't really work hard for, you see it in how they even spend it. Now, if those people somehow have relationships even with the president's advisors, surely that's supposed to concern us. Yes, it doesn't prove any criminality, but if the president's advisor, this man who was the president's advisor, has a very close relationship with a man who has been found to have been corrupt through his companies in working with the Tembisa Hospital, and that's what he's being investigated for, we have to be concerned. Because that means, what was the nature of that relationship? And then there's the murder of Babita Deokaran in all of this. Because the ex-girlfriend of one of the business people says, I knew that Ket Matlala actually wanted to kill Babita Deokaran. That's the statement that she's provided to the police, Tebogo Tobejani, and it's believed that it's when she raised that concern that then Ket Matlala apparently tried to then murder her. And now you hear Ket Matlala's friend or business associate, Morgan Hangwane Maumela, now has links to someone who was an important advisor of the president. This country. 8 minutes before 10.
702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Carltonville. Following the development of gold mines in the area, Carltonville was established in 1937. The town is named after a director of Consolidated Goldfields, Guy Carlton Jones. The nearby Kunene gold mine is the world's deepest mine, reaching a depth of over 4 kilometers. It is also the home of the Johannesburg Skydiving Club, which is based at the Carltonville Airfield. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Carltonville.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Every day, South Africans are being squeezed to make ends meet. That's why they're Still Good, a new online platform where you can save up to 65% on groceries by buying Still Good value bags. Packed with groceries by leading retailers that are still perfectly good, just close to their sell-by date. You win by saving, retailers win by cutting food waste, and communities win as Still Good donates 10% of their earnings to food charities. Visit stillgood.co.za. Start getting more bang for your buck with Still Good.
You've reached in his Renault Duster en route to Dullstrom. This journey is taking to try a sport far more boring than its name might suggest. Fly. Fishing. He'll be in his Renault Duster, which he bought with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance.
Leave it all behind in the new Renault Duster with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. Product of ABSA. T's and C's apply.
You are not dreaming.
You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
5 minutes before 10 o'clock. Kamorelo in Mpumalanga. Good morning.
Hi, Clement, how are you?
Sharp, how's it?
I'm good. Yeah, no, Shen, this is very upsetting. You know what I feel like is mostly annoying when it comes to situations like this? These people are not even shy or embarrassed to do these things that they know are going to come out publicly, you know? And the reason why I'm saying this is this niece was not even offered at least an internship to say, okay, you know, let's just not make it suspicious, at least do an internship for a year so that, you know, it doesn't, you don't immediately go to a senior position. You just got the job and immediately you are the chief of staff.
Yeah.
You know? And what's also, I feel like is very upsetting is my husband, a couple of years ago, after he also did his diploma at Rosebank, when he was applying for internship, you know, he was actually told that they don't offer internship positions to students who did their qualification at private institutions, like your Rosebank. Yeah, so I like this really just, it struck my nerve when I heard it. I was like, how the very same government institution that said, no, they don't offer positions to students who went to private colleges, but today the niece went to the very same private college and then the niece is now in a position of power.
And not just any position, Kamogelo, a very, very senior position. So if you don't know, they're prescribed, these are the requirements, right, for the position of chief of staff. You need the qualification at NQF level 7 plus 5 years experience at middle or senior management level. This woman did not meet the requirements for that appointment in terms of these qualifications. None. And now they've just removed her quietly and they're going to pretend like that never happened. Well, we're going to stay on this and ask them some serious questions. The DG now has responded and says, yeah, the spokesperson can't also talk to you guys because we're in the same meeting. So I've just asked the producers to tell him, okay, you tell us when you can talk to us then. Yeah, I get it, they're in a meeting now. As soon as they step out or he's got 5 minutes for us, we'll take him whenever because he's ducking and dodging now. They think they're just going to remove someone and keep it hush-hush. No, it's not happening. Mike, you're in Midrand. Good morning.
Morning, Brother Dami. How are you?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Good, thank you. Just a quick one. Ovana, what is happening with that young lady? Asumutlolo, it happens all the time. I happen to be working for the city of Joburg. Now, all those interns who have been placed in the MMC's offices, those are nieces and nephews of those MMCs, all right? And they've been put there all over. Now, if I may confess, now we are currently being run. Our HR is being run by interns who are clueless to the core. And they're dealing with our monies, they're dealing with our investments there, they're dealing with our nominated beneficiaries and the likes. The mess that is going on in that office, if you don't go to that office from time to time every year to go check and verify how in good standing you are, should you pass on, you are in trouble. There's so much mess going on there, Clement.
No, absolutely. Mike and Midrand, thank you for sharing that with us.
There's something magical about booking your next getaway. Whether you're flying for business or leisure, Airlink is ready to take you there in premium comfort. With over 45 destinations in 15 African countries, Airlink connects you throughout Southern Africa and beyond. No middle seats, just wider window or aisle seating. And yes, free luggage, snacks and beverages are still our thing. Plus, our Skybucks frequent fly program rewards you every time you fly. Book on flyairlink.com or your travel agent. Fly Airlink, the freedom of the African sky.
What was known as the Swimming Pool Road in Everton West due to severe waterlogging is now a safely engineered road. When the National Department of Transport called on SANRAL for help, we showed up, upgrading it to the highest standards of safety and quality. Today, the community of Mfuleni local municipality have an access road that they can rely on and be proud of. SANRAL, an agency of the Department of Transport.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Every wall tells a story. Now, yours can be told with elegance, resilience, and colors designed to last. A creation rooted in heritage, perfected for today. The wait is over. The finest has arrived. Discover the finest now on promotion from 24 September to 12 October only at Chamberlain. Your space, your color, our finest paint yet. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. We begin with breaking news. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. Mkhwanazi is accused of supplying EMPD blue lights to Matlala, which were later installed on the alleged crime boss's personal vehicles in 2023. EWN has learned that the Ekurhuleni City Council is meeting this morning to decide whether EMPD Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi should be suspended. His name also surfaced at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry last week, where he was accused of granting Matlala unlawful favours. Matlala is currently being held at the Jose Mampuru Correctional Facility in Pretoria, facing charges of attempted murder against his former partner, actress Tebogo Tobejane. Meanwhile, the head of the SAPS's legal division, Major General Petronella van Rooyen, is appearing before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry this morning. Van Rooyen is the third witness to testify at the commission investigating corruption within the police service. Van Rooyen will provide legal insight into the instruction by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team. She has so far outlined her reporting line.
I report to the Divisional Commissioner Legal Services, and we are part of the Support Services Deputy National Commissioner. In other words, that would be either General Nkua or General Tampane, and thereafter the National Commissioner.
9 suspected abalone poachers are expected to appear in court today following their arrest near Robben Island. This follows a multi-million rand bust where a man and a woman were also arrested earlier in the week. Police divers and the SAPS drone unit were called on Tuesday to help locate the group. The police's Wesley Twigg says the group faces charges under the Maritime Acts.
Faced with challenging circumstances, the SAPS drone unit was called in to support the operation. A drone was deployed from one of the vessels and, working in conjunction with the divers, played a key role in tracking and apprehending the suspects as well as in the recovery of poaching equipment.
Parts of KwaZulu-Natal are still experiencing another wet day as heavy rains continues to hit the communities there. The South African Weather Service has issued warnings for disruptive rainfall across the province. Disaster management teams, municipal officials and emergency services are placed on standby. KZN's Cooperative Governance Department spokesperson, Senzelwe Mzila.
Yesterday we experienced inclement weather conditions with heavy rains that affected large parts of the province. We had a level 4 weather warning for disruptive rain, and it rained for large parts of the day. We had major roads that were closely guarded. There were accidents that were on our roads, and emergency teams were kept busy with that.
And an airport in Denmark used for commercial and military flights has been forced to close after drones were spotted in its airspace. Incoming and departing flights from Aalborg Airport were halted following the incident last night. Police say more than one drone was sighted in the airport's airspace, adding that it was not known if they were the same ones that were affected in Copenhagen Airport earlier this week. The force says that the purpose of the drones is being investigated as it is not clear who is controlling them. Gold is trading at $3,751.87 an ounce. The rand is at 17.35 to the dollar, 23.33 to the pound, 20.36 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.15 a barrel.
And in the traffic in the city of Tshwane, we've got some delays on the N14 North approaching Old Johannesburg Road. Please be on the lookout there while traveling. On the N3 North in the Kelvin area, roadworks are still causing delays approaching the Baklu turn-off, queuing traffic coming out of Marlborough Drive.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The breaking story in EW in this hour, Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusmuzi Cat Matlala.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, Sanbonani, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702, and thank you so much for your contributions on the 702 open line through your calls, your WhatsApps, your tweets as well. I really, really always appreciate hearing your different contributions. And yeah, I'm sorry to depress you, but this is the country we live in. We live in a country where a Minister of Social Development is going to run her department as if it's a family affair or a tuck shop. Because really, how else do you explain it? How else do you explain that a minister takes the niece of her advisor, who is 22 years old, who has only 1 year of experience of working at a college in Limpopo, and not even in a managerial position, but was going around distributing pamphlets and sharing information about that college, which is great, right? That's great work experience. But that doesn't qualify you to be a chief of staff. To go and earn 1.4 million rand, which I, as a taxpayer, have to pay for, and you don't qualify, you don't even have the necessary years of experience to be put in that position. That's exactly what the Minister of Social Development has done together with her DG. And they have now quietly, because we've been making noise about this, they've now quietly removed that lady from that position. And now when we ask them to come and account, they don't want to come do interviews, because how do they even explain that? Because they know they can't justify that. So they've gone into hiding now. They don't want to come and account and explain to us, how did this woman get appointed when she didn't qualify? And why are they quietly removing her? Because what, they want to evade accountability? And then there's another story now that the other listener raised of a former advisor of the president who has links to someone whom the NPA is busy attaching their assets, because they have been involved in what the police believe are criminal acts, corruption in the tenders that they've received from Tembisa Hospital. Who exposed those tenders? Babita Deokaran. What happened to Babita Deokaran? She was murdered for exposing the corruption that involves some of these people that now we understand have links to someone who was an advisor of the president? Claps once. Let's get into our hanging out feature. 9 minutes after 10.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, on our hanging out feature this morning, I'm really excited to be hanging out with award-winning jazz artist Nomfundo Xaluva. She is a celebrated jazz vocalist. She's a composer. She's an educator. She's a senior lecturer, actually, in jazz studies at UCT. And I have to say, I'm a big fan of her. I've enjoyed all of her albums. I love watching her live, and I've had the privilege to see her live a couple of times. And she'll be performing at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, by the way, this coming weekend. And she's one person I can't wait to see. I think her performance is on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Nomfundo, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the 702 viewers. And you're spot on. I'm on Saturday night.
Can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. Can I do my song requests now already?
Is this why you've invited me? You want dibs on performing this?
This is me trying to take advantage of this position I'm in now. Thank you so much for making time for us. And I really admire you as an artist. I think you know that by now. I really think you are so incredible. I love watching you. So I'm a big fan myself. So I can't wait to get to know you better over the next hour together with the listeners. And I want to take it from the beginning because my understanding is you grew up in Gqeberha, and I'm trying to understand how did you then fall in love with music? Because normally people who end up even studying music, you'll realize that actually in their family there was somebody who inspired them in some way. Was that your story?
Well, look, how I answer might be quite different to what my family members would say, because they somehow think that they had some DNA contribution to the artist that I am. But yes, I was raised by my grandparents, my late grandparents, and my grandfather was an avid lover of jazz. He collected records, and so that music was always playing at home. And my grandmother loved choral music, so on Sunday afternoons, that was the music that was playing at home. I don't really remember a moment where I fell in love with music, but what I remember is visiting a friend of mine for a weekend, and I must have been about 10. And she had a piano. There was a piano at home, at her house, and I'd never seen one in person. And there was something about sitting on a piano stool and actually touching the keys and plonking them. And I think from that moment on, I was completely sort of enamored with the instrument and with the sound it made. And I've never left that stool since then. And then I've studied music when I, at the time, what was referred to as a Model C school in Makanda, which was Grahamstown then. I started classical piano lessons when I was 12. And I've been a scholar of music since. But obviously, I think the jazz bug bit much later. In fact, I only started to really love jazz once I'd already registered for it at university.
That's fascinating. So how did that then influence you going through studying jazz, understanding the techniques that, an ordinary singer who hasn't really studied music like that would understand? How did your education around this genre influence how you do music? Are you like a stickler for let's get it right, like this technique, this has to sound like really this is jazz, Are you very particular and rigid around your approach?
I am, if I'm being honest. I think, anyone who has studied a craft, right? It doesn't matter whether it's artistic or in any field. When you acquire a skill and you study it over years, you do become a stickler because you want to do it well. And then when you get into the education space, it becomes even more important because you want your students to do it well. And so I think because I was fortunate enough to study classical music from a young age and to sing in school choirs and to be on stage, and then getting into university and learning, and jazz for me was really an acquired taste. I mean it when I say I only really started to love the music probably third year into my jazz degree. It was just a lot to absorb sonically. It was just so out there. But because I had watched Abo Judith Sipuma come out of UCT, or Jimmy Dludlu, this really incredible crop of musicians that were coming out of UCT, and I was like, that's what I want to study, and so yes, and I think because I studied it for such a long time, it was easier for me to find my way in the academic space of jazz, right? Which is very tricky now that I'm sitting on the other side as a lecturer, when I see students wanting to come in and auditioning, but they don't have that early beginning. And I think that's the thing. We need to go back to that early beginning, so that we don't just do it because we love it, but we do it because we're actually very good at it.
Yeah. So who would you say are some of the artists that inspired you deeply as you were studying jazz, as you were thinking about or in contemplating actually also like releasing an album? Who are those artists for you?
So Swangile Khumalo definitely stands out as one of the key artists who influenced me. And I think a part of that is because she was the first voice in South African jazz, not only just as a voice, but vocally, to lend her instrument to the jazz genre. And this is sort of after the era of the 50s and 60s, Abo Miriam Makeba and Dolly Ratebe, the big five, Dorothy Masuka and the likes. But Swangile was really that person who married the classical with the jazz, right? Because she herself was a scholar of music. She was a soprano, her father having been a professor. And so she had that classical grounding and yet was so adept in the jazz genre. And so listening to her albums became a really formidable form of schooling for me as a young singer at the time. And then, of course, as part of the jazz program at UCT, we studied the American greats. So we studied the albums of your Ella Fitzgerald, your Sarah Vaughns, your Betty Carters, and the likes. And so it was really this kind of very hybrid pool of influences. But Swangile, in terms of local, stands out. And then, of course, Miriam Makeba. And I think that's a common influence amongst singers, not just in South Africa, but I think around the world, really.
Yeah. And I mean, you studied her so much. And we'll continue this conversation after the break. You can join it by sending us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. Maybe you're a big fan of Nomfundo Xaluva. Maybe you've got a question for her about her musical journey. The WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's 17 minutes now after 10.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just 109.99 per kilo. Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink 2 litres, 2 for 45 Rand, save 11 Rand. And Monster Energy Drink, a 500ml 4-pack for 57.99, save 12 Rand. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
The Wits School of Governance develops leaders and innovators who reimagine governance, strengthen institutions, and drive inclusive growth across Africa. Your journey to impact starts there, from postgraduate diplomas to masters, PhD programs, and executive education tailored for today's wicked problems. They equip change makers in government, civil society, and the private sector with the tools to lead boldly and with purpose. Governance matters. Visit wsg.ac.za and apply today.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
The Akani Simbine Foundation is dedicated to building brighter futures for children by focusing on sport, education, and welfare. This Friday on 702 Drive, we'll be in conversation with Akani Simbine Foundation to find out how they're uplifting the next generation and how the Discam Foundation is helping fuel their mission to empower South Africa's youth. Don't miss this inspiring discussion about the power of collaboration. Remember, every swipe of your Discam or Discam Baby City benefit card supports many great initiatives across the country. Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. Only on 702.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes after 10 o'clock, we are hanging out with Nomfundo Xaluva on our Hanging Out feature this morning. So, what questions do you have? Any comments? You can call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702.
Clement, I love Nomfundo Xaluva. Ndiyamthanda. When I was on a journey to teach my daughter isiXhosa, because I'm married to a Pedi guy, so I first taught her the song Baxabene Oxam Baxabene Ngenjongo Bexakweni Baxaka. And she loves the song, so that's how she started learning Xhosa at the age of 7. Thank you.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a beautiful story. Tabi, you are calling us from Sentin. Good morning.
Hi, Clement.
Hi, Tabi. Go ahead. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've got a question, but before that, I just wonder if Nomfundo understands how great she is, her beauty, her intelligence. Does she get it, She's one of a kind, and honestly, if I do go to the Joy of Jazz this weekend, she'll be the only reason for me to go. But my question is, does she have an album with the hubby? Do they ever perform together?
Okay. Yeah, Tabi. Yeah, I'm sure you get this a lot. Thank you, Tabi, in Sentin, for your question. Nomfundo, I'm sure you get this a lot. People say, with Mandi Sijanchi, of course, your husband, I've never seen you guys perform together, actually.
Trust 702 listeners to just go in. They don't waste time. They're like, listen, this is 702. We extract.
We don't beat around the bush, okay?
We don't beat around the bush here. I know exactly where I am now. Firstly, incredible to the first call about her daughter learning, which is really beautiful. To get the sounds of the language. I love that. I absolutely love that. And do I know how great I am? I think, I have a sense of it, but and I have a sense of that because I know how hard I work, and I know that to be great, one has to stay teachable, and so I'm within that. Yes, so Mandisi and I have performed together for so many years before he became famous. Because suddenly he became famous, and then people were like, no, when are you guys going to perform together? I'm like, remember the first time I did the Cape Town Jazz, and the first time I did Joy of Jazz, and when I did this festival and that, he was the trumpeter in my band, and he was also the backing vocalist in my band.
Oh, wow.
And so And so, yes, and there is an album. In fact, on my first album, Kusile, there's a duet on there titled Wandi Libala.
Yes.
And Mandisi is on that duet.
Yes.
So I invite people now, retrospectively,
Yeah.
to go and listen to that. But look, the requests have been coming for some time now. Are we going to do something? And the long and short of it is yes, but we want to do something in our own time, on our own terms, right? We
Yeah.
want it to be really quite special. And so, yes, we know that it's something that people would love to see, and we will make it happen.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I really can't wait for that. What a talented family. Hey? So let's also play some music here. Tell me about the song Zizi, because it's in your album, and I'll ask you questions about just this album broadly when we come back from the song. But what was going through your mind when you were working on Zizi, and what sort of feeling message were you trying to portray with the song?
So Zizi is the name of my daughter, right? And she's named after her clan name, which is her father's clan name, Odlamini Amazizi. And so people will often refer to Mandisi, maybe you've seen it, they call him Zizi. So that's my daughter's name. And in fact, the music to Zizi I'd written back in 2014, sitting at a keyboard, and I was messing around, and I played this melody, you know, ba 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 ba, and I had long dreadlocks, but I filmed it. And so all these years later, in 2023, I opened my laptop, and the iCloud what had
Yes.
gone and mined that video. And I clicked on it, and I was like, wow, what a great melody, what a great piece of music. And 30 minutes later, I penned the lyrics to my daughter. And the thing about Zizi, the line that I think people really need to kind of listen out for is when I say she danced inside me and silenced my grief, because I found out that I was having her 4 months after I'd lost my grandmother. So she came at the perfect time. And so it's a celebration of life, but also an acknowledgement that, you know, had she not arrived, you know, I could have sunk into the dungeons of grief. And so it's just a beautiful tribute to her.
My Zizi, you're the purest form of love, a blessing from above. I cannot believe God chose me to be your mama and your friend. You danced inside me, silencing my grief. Yes, you gave life to me. My Zizi, you're the purest form of love, a blessing from above. I cannot believe God chose me to be your mama and your friend. You danced inside me, silencing my grief. Girl, you gave life to me. like the perfect dream of spring. When you smile at me, I cannot believe you belong to me. Every morning when I wake, and every breath I take will be for your sake. Girl, you gave life to me. Girl, you gave life to me. Girl, you gave life to
Me. Oh, what a song. Can I be your
Did
backing?
I hear you singing?
Yes.
Did I just hear you singing?
Yes,
there?
ma'am, you did. Can I be your backing vocalist at the J of Jazz?
Anytime. Anytime.
Careful
I love
what-
that.
careful
Anytime.
what you
Bring
wish.
a tenor. Bring a tenor something there,
Or a
Clem.
baritone.
Please bring
Or a baritone.
baritone.
It's 10:30. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Nomfundo Xaluva. She's on our Hanging Out feature this morning. Keep your calls coming, your WhatsApps as well on 072 702 1702. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. It's the breaking story this hour. Kunene Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusmuzi Cat Madlanga. Mkhwanazi is accused of supplying EMPD blue lights to Madlanga, which were later installed on the alleged crime boss's personal vehicles in 2023. Now, EWN has learned that the Ekurhuleni City Council is meeting this morning to decide whether Mkhwanazi should be suspended. Police say their interventions to stabilize Western Cape communities plagued by gang violence are continuing. Operations Chanela members were conducting operations in Delft yesterday when they searched a man and found him in possession of a gun and ammunition. He was arrested along with another person who was also found with a firearm and ammunition as well as drugs. And Denmark says it will reinforce its capacity to detect drones that have caused airport closures twice this week. An airport used for commercial and military flights has been forced to close after drones were spotted in its airspace. Incoming and departing flights from Aalborg Airport were halted following the incident last night. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the M2 West, we've got an accident reported right near Heidelberg Road. It's causing delays coming out of Silver Street. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. While on the N3 North, road wrecks are still taking place just as you approach the Baklu turnoff. About a 15-minute hold-up coming out of Marlborough Drive. There's also queuing traffic. In fact, a slight backup reported on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Sloane Street. And in four ways, some delays along Witkoppen Road towards Winnie Mandela Drive. And then in the city of Tshwane, we still have got delays on the N14 North. This is as you approach the R101 turn off. So please be on the lookout there and try to avoid if you can. If you want to head towards the CBD, maybe you can try using the R101 or even the N1 North. We'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour, from news to global events, business, sports, science, books and always some good news too. Appointment listening, every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
Every pothole, power cut, or burst pipe tells a story of frustration, right? But how that story ends is up to you. Fix Local helps you report local issues, escalate them, or, as a last resort, fix them yourself safely and legally. It empowers you with tools to work with or hold local government to account so you can build the neighborhood you deserve. Visit fixlocal.org.za to take up issues in your area. 702 supports Fix Local. Let's walk the talk and fix local together.
Every year, more than 4,000 children lose their lives to a blood cancer or blood disorder. For over 30 years, Sunflower Day has provided hope to patients in their fight against blood cancers and blood disorders. This September, help celebrate Sunflower Month by making a monetary donation towards recruiting more potential lifesavers for patients and giving them a second chance at life. Visit www.dkms-africa.org to ensure patients get their fighting chance.
This is your business. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero accounting software. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero, finding you have more time to focus on things you love and not endless admin. Supercharge your business today.
Weekday evenings at 6.
A year in, what do we think we've learned so far about how people behave in the two-pot system?
It does seem to be accessed for emergency use. And what we've also seen is there seems to be a trend where individuals that have withdrawn from the two-pot system do it again.
Mike Atzets is the Global Chief Investment Officer at Momentum Investments.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, banking on local growth with Club Med South Africa to bring the first resort of its kind to the country, opening a new chapter for tourism and supporting growth in the hospitality industry. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
24 minutes before 11 o'clock, we've got Nomfundo Xaluva, an incredible jazz artist, on our Hanging Out feature this morning. And I'm taking your calls and your WhatsApps as well. So let's start with Nomapelo, who's calling us from Johannesburg. Nomapelo, good morning.
Morning, Clement. Morning. You've got my sister there, my little sister. Nomfundo Xaluva. Yes, Nomfundo grew up, we were family friends with the Tukani family, the Mhlantlas. So, Nomfundo, I just want to say we're so proud of you. From Usem, Ubuli, Unozipho, Xoliso, Matsepo, Xolsile. You know them. They're so proud of you and Nati as the Tukani family. And Mhlantla family, we're very proud of you. Actually, the whole Ford village is proud of you.
That's amazing. Thank you. That's so good to hear from you. That's incredible. Thank you.
Nomapelo, thank you so much for that. Here's a WhatsApp that's also come through.
Hi, Clement. Hi, Sis Nomfundo. Listen, I'm a fan of Miss Nomfundo. I will be there on Saturday. I promise you I'll be right there on the first row, first seat. Can't wait to be mesmerized by your voice. It's Gugu from Pretoria.
Gugu, see you there on Saturday at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. So there's a question that actually comes. Someone said, now, when you speak to Nomfundo, please ask her this question. Your last album, you last released an album, was it in 2015, if I'm not mistaken? And this person says, one thing that she's always appreciated about your music is how it's able to stand in the gap for you during the time when you are absent and you are not releasing any albums or you're not performing. What do you think that communicates about the music that you make? And is it something that you have picked up yourself? Because there are artists who do get worried when they haven't released in a while. They get a bit worried. Oh, okay, we have to think constantly around when are we releasing music. How do you approach that as an artist?
So that's right. I mean, my second album from now on came out in 2015, and then Undilapa only came out 2024.
Yeah.
So there was a 9-year gap between the two albums, bearing in mind that, let's say, sort of 4-ish years of that 9 was the COVID period, right?
Yeah.
But Ndilapa, actually, the whole ethos, in fact, how it's titled with the title track speaks exactly about that, about the fact that I'm the kind of artist who I don't want hypervisibility. I don't want I don't want to be a machine that's churning out music all the time because I want to stay relevant, right? I really believe that the music is there, the art is there, all the time. Dilapa, I'm there in the work that I do. And so it was part deliberate, but also part circumstantial. I went to business school in 2018 to do my MBA, and so I did take a break as well to pursue a different avenue in terms of my qualifications, just studying, upskilling myself, and so. Yeah, and I don't feel the pressure to always put out new music. I think I trust in the songs and the work that I put out, and because I model my work and my craft, after people who also, I think, had the same kind of thinking, that you write music when there's something to be said.
Yes.
And I believe that very strongly. And so so for me, like, my album is brand new. Anyone who would ask me now, when are we going to get album number 4? I'm like, what do you mean? Because you've got to let the music live. You have to give the albums an opportunity to live and to grow and to reach as many people, and to do the work must do its work. And so if you're just always putting out an album after an album, you shortchange and you curtail the work of the previous album. And I think now we have to work against that pressure that you have to always be putting something out. Otherwise, are you even an artist? No, and so that's my thing. Like with this album, Undilapa, it's an infant. It's got years. And even my first album, Kusile, which has the Yakhali Nkomo, Jerusalem, when people listen to that now, it sounds brand new.
Yeah.
And when people listen to Tando Luhle from my second album, or Tembalam, it's because that's what music is supposed to do. It's not a factory.
Yeah.
And because I take my art seriously. So she's completely right. That's how I do it.
And as well as people who consume your music, I think you pick that a lot when you pick up when the artists who are just churning albums, and sometimes there's like a soul missing there, because it's like some artists want to release just for the sake of releasing, and you've got other artists who, as you say, they wait until there's something to be said, because that's what artistry is about, isn't it? And sometimes when those people, even when they've taken 10 years, they haven't released, the minute they release that album, you connect with it, and it speaks to the heart, because there's actually something to be said. There's a connection of sorts happening spiritually. I want to ask you, though, about Hymn for Bully. And I must tell you, when they sent us, the producers showed me the songs you've picked to play, I was like, why is that song not here? Because I know, and many of my listeners love it. I hosted the education minister, Usiviwe Kwahube, on the show.
Yes.
And that was, in fact, it's her favorite song of all times. And, we played that song, and the reaction from the listeners was crazy. People who were talking about what it meant to them, how they were able to relate to that. And I really, if you don't mind, I would like to play that song, because the listeners are also up here asking about the Hymn for Bully. Can we play it?
Absolutely.
Can you tell that story again, please? Why? Because you spoke earlier about Uzizi and writing a song about your daughter and what that meant, given what you had experienced as well around your grandmother. Just talk to us about Hymn for Bully, and then I'll give the listeners an opportunity to hear it.
So Hymn for Bully, as I said earlier, I was raised by my grandmother and so the mama, that typical sort of Black life where your grandmother is your mother, right? And she passed away in December 2020 due to COVID related complications. And she went from being completely healthy to being, and she was gone. It was a dark time. And I remember, some months before that, we had been home, and my husband was there, and we were just chatting and bantering. And she said to Mandisi, listen, when I pass on, I rely on you to sing my hymn at my funeral. Intonga yam, iyawuhlatyelwa nguwe. And we're laughing, we're not thinking anything of it. And literally 3 months later, there was Mandisi singing Thixo wasebhethelehe at the top of his voice, in front of Buli's coffin. And so I composed Hymn for Buli as an adaptation of that hymn, which the listeners might find it familiar. Ba bi ba bi ba 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 ya ba ba bi ba ba da di ya bi ba be do da. And so I took that hymn that was Indonga Yake and wrote and adapted it to what then became Hymn for Muli. And I put it on the album as a tribute. And I always say on stage that people resonate with it not only because it's that, it's that when you write something that expresses a deep pain, but also melodically, because if you're a churchgoer, it sounds like something that you've heard before. And that's because, yes, you have, because it's adapted from an existing hymn. So, yeah, that's Hymn for Muli.
Oh, what a hymn.
Kufasikone ngamina wafikunga menywanga intando kabaninale ebuhlungu kangaka kufasikone wafikunga menywanga intando kabaninale ebuhlungu kangaka savukana kweliphupha sisule sakuvana uhleka usithuthuzela siziva silahlekile siphandlwa bubumnyama uThixo ukuthathile lithonile ilanga uzuthi xa uwelile ufike usikhonzele utata ukulindile lafezekidinga singxolelwa kukuthula kwelizwi lakho mama zusikhanyise lindlela apho uleli khona uzuthi xa uwelile ufike usikhonzele uqwashe ukulindile lafezekidinga siziva silahlekile siphandlwa bubumnyama zusikhanyise lindlela apho uhleli
Good morning, Clement and Nomfundo.
or now I get, often when Nomfundo sings, I felt like she was channeling Miriam Makeba. So the fact that she studied her music and just like most of us grew up listening to it, she sounds so much like her, especially when she sings those click sounds. Oh, we really love her music. Thank you so much for hosting her today, Clement. Thanks, Dima.
Hey, Dima, she graduated cum laude with research on Miriam Makeba. So trust that she really, really studied her hard.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Josie, my Josie, a city made of swag, passion and resilience. Over here, we rise with the sun, Namateksi. We are a city of doers, creators and believers. When we unite, yonke from corner offices to corner veggie stores or corner pre-chat and receipt. Josie, my Josie, a city where even those who were not born here are made here. Yabona la, citizenship is awarded to the curious. There's magic and beauty in our city, so we call on everyone to come experience it. Babiza bonke to come see Josie and all its people, because this city is all of us. Come witness our citizens do it. Babiza bonke to come see the actions of the invisibles, those building our city from the ground up, so we have a home we can all proudly call Josie, my Josie. Visit josiemyjosie.com to see how Josie does it.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 2-liter Spar or sunflower oil for $69.99 with Spar Rewards, or 3 kg Sunlight 5-in-1 washing powder for $79.99. Save 25 Rand with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Competition ends 7 October. Price is valid 23 September to 7 October 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes before 11 o'clock, we are just about to wrap up our conversation with Nomfundo Xaluva. Someone is asking here, Nomfundo, what else do you listen to when you are not listening to Miriam Makeba or any of the artists that you mentioned above? You did mention Sibongile Khumalo as well. So can we get maybe one favorite song of yours from Sibongile Khumalo that we can play? And then we're gonna come back. Yeah, what's that one song for you?
Tando's Groove.
Why?
And it was her birthday yesterday, Clement,
Mhm.
by the way. It was Sibongile's birthday yesterday. So I thought, I would put her songs. Tando's Groove, it's just it's so bright, and it's I love it because there are no lyrics. So she does what we call in jazz is she scats. But it's such a beautiful, bright, and also I think the first time I ever saw her live at the Grahamstown at the National Arts Festival, she opened with that song and I burst into tears. I was still a student then. And so, when I listen to that, it's a very difficult song. So I sometimes warm up to it. I think it reflects her incredible personality, Tando's Groove on the album Quest. And then also, what do I listen to?
Yeah.
Kwaito.
Oh, yeah?
I will listen to Kwaito forever. I grew up with, listen, on my playlist, you must know that I've got TKZ all over there, or Tebe, or Trombis. I listen to a lot of Kwaito,
Wow.
actually, because I grew up on that stuff. So I love it. It's definitely one of my favorite genres. And then I listen to Amapiano as well.
Yeah.
I used to listen to a lot of R&B, not so much anymore. I listen to anything that's good. And my students are always introducing me to new music. So that's also like a great advantage of being surrounded by students, is they always, what do they say? They're plugging me. Yeah, all the time. They're plugging
nice music. All right, here's Tando's Groove by Sibongile Khumalo. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful song. What do you still want to do, Nomfundo, in the music industry? You are teaching it, you have released albums. What is it that you think still like is on the list of the to do?
So I've started my PhD, definitely. So that is the key sort of thing that I'm doing now. But in the industry, I want to teach. You know, I want to continue to teach and to educate and to mentor. That's really, I think that's where my passion lies. And of course, I'll always be writing music, but ultimately, I just want to give as many people a leg up as I possibly can, you know, in upskilling them as artists. So for as long as I have the platform, I'll always be on that mission.
Yeah. Bayang shout Allah, some of the listeners are saying, why didn't you play Wendy? Well, come to the Standard Bank Job Says. Maybe you'll be lucky for her to perform that on Saturday. What time are you on stage?
10:45, Dinner Lady.
Yeah, 10:45, Dinner Lady stage. Make sure you come see Nomfundo Xaluva perform at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Nomfundo, thank you so much for making time. And my goodness, thank you for giving us such amazing, soulful, heart-to-heart music. We appreciate your artistry, your talent, and we're so glad to be in this era, to be part of this generation that's blessing us with such amazing music. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clement. I'm very happy to have been here, and I just wanted to say I feel exactly the same way about you and about your work. Thank you very much.
Yabonga. See you on Saturday on stage.
See ya.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, SA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
It's that time of the year. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetisid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
Whenever you hear deep in the heart and art of jazz, think Siyamakuzeni with the big band, Jasmine Horn, Alun Wad, The Baylor Project, Jose James sings Badu, Umusangare, Esperanza Spalding, Michelle Dugiocello, Elaine, Tezo, Munei, Mondli Ngobo, and many other spectacular icons. Think Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, 4 stages at the Santon Convention Center, 26th, 27th and 28th September, and take me there. Book via Ticketmaster.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusumuzi Cat Madlanga. Mkhwanazi is accused of supplying EMPD blue lights to Madlanga, which were later installed on the alleged crime boss's personal vehicles in 2023. EWN has learnt that the Ekurhuleni City Council is meeting this morning to decide whether Mkhwanazi should be suspended. His name also surfaced at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry last week, where he was accused of granting Madlanga unlawful favours. Madlanga is currently being held at the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Facility in Pretoria, facing charges of attempted murder against his former partner, actress Tebogo Tobajane. Afra Mushwana reports.
Police watchdog IPID previously recommended the city of Ekurhuleni take disciplinary action against EMPD Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, who allegedly provided blue lights to attempted murder accused Vusumuzi Cat Madlanga. More than a year has passed since the Police Investigative Directorate wrapped up its investigation, yet no action has been taken against the EMPD top cop. The Independent Ratepayers Association of South Africa has now tabled an urgent motion for his suspension, with the Ekurhuleni City Council expected to decide on the matter today. The association argues that the allegations levelled against the Metro's top cop seriously undermine the credibility and integrity of both the municipality and its police department. It further stresses that claims linking him to an alleged underworld figure cannot be ignored. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, the Madlanga Commission has this morning heard that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu did not have the authority to issue an instruction to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team. This is part of the head of SAPS's Legal Division, Major General Petronella van Rooyen's testimony before the Commission. Van Rooyen says the task team falls under an operational matter, which is the sole responsibility of the National Police Commissioner. Oren Singh reports.
Earlier this week, National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola outlined his role and responsibilities versus that of a police minister. In line with the Constitution and SAPS Act, a National Police Commissioner is responsible for operational matters, whereas the police minister is responsible for political oversight, policy and legislative frameworks. During her testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry this morning, head of SAPS's Legal Division, Major General Petronella van Rooyen, echoed Masimola's sentiments, saying Mchunu's letter was clearly an instruction related to operational matters.
Did the minister have the power to command the closure of a task team? And in my view, he did not have that authority.
Van Rooyen is expected to also speak to the legalities around the reassignment of 121 dockets from the KZN PKTT to National Police Headquarters in Pretoria. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Police say their interventions to stabilize Western Cape communities plagued by gang violence are continuing. Operation Chanela members were conducting operations in Delft yesterday when they searched and found a man in possession of a gun and ammunition. He was arrested along another person who was also found with a firearm and ammunition as well as drugs. Dozens of people have been killed in recent months in what is believed to be gang-related attacks. The police's Wesley Twig.
The members also searched another male in Tornado Circle, Delft, and found him in possession of a 9mm pistol with ammunition. In an unrelated intervention, members of Operation Chanela 2 deployed in Kunene followed up information about a person who is selling drugs at a premises in Busasa Link.
And Denmark says it will reinforce its capacity to detect drones that have caused airport closures twice this week. An airport used for commercial and military flights has been forced to close after drones were spotted in its airspace. Incoming and departing flights from Aalborg Airport were halted following the incident last night. Police say more than one drone was sighted in the airport's airspace, adding that it was not known if they were the same ones that affected Copenhagen Airport earlier this week. The Justice Department says armed forces are looking to acquire enhanced capabilities to find out and neutralize the drones. Gold is trading at $3,754.32 an ounce. The rand is at 17.30 to the dollar, 23.27 to the pound, 20.31 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.14 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in City Deep on the M2 West near Heidelberg Road. It's due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic along the N3, both directions between Van Buren Road and the Gilulis interchange. Please be on the lookout.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Kunene Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusmuzi Kat Matlala.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time now for our Thursday dialogue.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
So on our Thursday dialogue today, we're focusing on the 2 weeks of the Madlanga Commission. What have we learned from the testimonies of KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and the National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula? What were they able to back up with evidence? What were they not able to back up with evidence? And what more evidence can we expect to back up some of what they've said? So I've invited Oren Singh, who is our reporter with Eyewitness News. I've invited Karen Mon as well, who's a journalist with News 24, just to take us through, because maybe there are some aspects that you may have missed that they think are quite crucial and will be crucial as the chairperson of this commission, Justice Madlanga, writes his final report at the end of this commission. So if you've got some questions, maybe you've got some inputs yourself, you want to tell us what it is that has stood out for you, you're welcome to give us a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702. Oren, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Nice to be here. Thanks, Clem.
All right. We'll also be joined by Karen Mon at some point. I'll bring her on in a moment. Oren, let's just start broadly by reflecting on the commission before we get into the nitty-gritties. How do you feel about what has been revealed and what the commissioners there and the evidence leaders have been able to question or not question?
I think it's been underwhelming, Clement. If I have to give my personal opinions here, I might be out of a job. But
well, I agree with you. So I may be out of a job too.
I think it's been underwhelming so far. We expected maybe more explosive testimony from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi when he took the hot seat last week for 3 days. But much of what he said, he was talking to what he spoke to in July, not giving us much more. I think really we saw possibly where this commission is going this week when Fani Masimola was testifying, and he started speaking about Babita Deokaran.
Yeah.
And he was just cut off by Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga on that point, not probed, not letting him finish, because he was speaking about Vusi Musi Kat Matlala.
Yeah.
And then going into the Babita Deokaran issue, and we're hoping to hear, everyone's ears pricked up, and we're hoping to hear, is he going to make the link between Vusi Musi and Babita?
Yeah.
Is he going to give us something we haven't heard? And it's just cut right there. So that was quite disappointing for us. But then the other issue, the presidency issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear that this private entity company, Richards Bay Minerals, has got a task team, and Mkhwanazi alleging that the Special Task Force and the NIU are deployed there. These are serious units within SAPS that are responsible for serious operations, deployed to essentially safeguard a private company.
While there's crime that's spiraling out of control in the same area where that mining company is.
Rampant crime. I'm from that area in Northern KZN, and I know the issues in Dondota, I know the issues in Kwambonambi, and it's just not Richards Bay itself. And they were never, Masimola was never pressed on that. Was the instruction given to you by the presidency to redeploy members to Richards Bay Minerals after recalling them?
Yeah.
It's something that we expected, especially the commission chair, Justice Madlanga, to press him on.
Yeah.
And he was never asked those questions.
Oh, yeah, that was quite disappointing. I must say myself as well, I'm disappointed with how there are certain things that are not being asked. It's like they say these statements and then, okay, we let it go. But I do think if we probe further, we've got the opportunity here to understand more who are the actors that are involved here. Karen Mon, let me bring you in here. Just broadly, we'll get into the nitty-gritties in a moment. Broadly, your impressions of the Madlanga Commission so far, from what we've been able to hear and what's been able to be challenged by the evidence leaders. What's your view?
I think that, it's such an incredible mythology that I think so many South Africans.
Oh, it's
so long.
Yeah, Karen, I think let's do this. We're going to put you back now to the producers, and maybe we can get you on the line because we are losing you there. So the sound is not as clear as I would have loved for it to be. So we'll bring back Karen in a moment. So Oren, let's get into some of the issues. Let's pick up maybe on what you've just mentioned now. There's this mining company in Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal. What do we understand about what General Fani Masimola has said? Because this unit was withdrawn from this mining company. Someone from the presidency calls and says, no, that's not going to work. Do we even know who that person is?
We don't, Clement, and I think that's the answers we wanted to get or achieve an understanding of who issued this instruction. Was it the presidency spokesperson?
Yeah.
Was it someone from the president's office directly? Someone that maybe answers directly to President Cyril Ramaphosa? Or what actually happened? But in terms of the backstory, what we know is that Richards Bay Minerals had a series of murders that related to their operations. In 2021, Nico Swart, their general manager, was killed in Merensia in Richards Bay. He shot in a hail of bullets in his vehicle, in his driveway, essentially, and killed. And so following Nico Swart's murder, there's a series of more murders that take place within the grander scheme of the operations of Richards Bay Minerals. So Gwede Mantashe, who is the Minister of Mineral Resources at the time, meets with SAPS and says, look, we need to look around what's going on regarding Richards Bay Minerals. And a decision is taken to form a sort of, I wouldn't say task team, but a team of detectives to go down to Richards Bay to try and crack this case. Who are behind these murders and what's going on? And after a year, they don't achieve much successes. Mkhwanazi says it's wasteful expenditure. I'm recalling these detectives back to Durban. They can continue with their investigations from provincial head office, but to have them down in Richards Bay for over a year without any successes, it's wasting money. And as soon as he does that, he gets a call from Fani Masimola to say, look, you've recalled these detectives, but I've just got a call from the presidency saying, why is this the case? Send those detectives back down to Richards Bay. So, I mean, direct political influence on policing operations and matters. And we don't get answers. Who issued the instruction? Who called him? Did the former Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwede Mantashe, or the current Minister, Gwede Mantashe, speak to someone within the presidency, get them to issue the instruction? Where did the call come from?
And why?
And why?
And why did they do that? Yeah. Karen, we've got you back on the line now.
Yes.
You were giving an overview just quickly on your assessment of the Madlanga Commission so far.
Well, I just wanted to get onto the last point that was raised by your guest. And, that's particularly awkward in light of what happened in Marikana with the instruction around concomitant action taken against minors. So, at that stage, the Ramaphosa was not in a presidential position, but there were severe questions raised about the use, that language in that email and the impact that it had on this incendiary position in this mine. And as you rightly point out, we don't have a sense. I mean, Masimola sort of brings it in right at the end of his tail end of evidence and says, there was nothing exceptional about it. And as long as these guys were there to solve crime, it was fine. But I think, this idea of, and it's been a theme that's come out again and again, this idea that the PKTT was somehow a force that was there to protect Becky Cele. That was a language that was, a base allegation that hasn't been substantiated or something that was said. But this idea that a political elite, which we know spends disproportionate huge amounts of money on their own protection, is somehow potentially involved in indicating that police must go to crime-riddled areas, not because of the protection of citizens, but because of mining interests, I think it's a bit harsh for the average South African to address. But I mean, this is again the issue is that we are at the beginning of a process. I think that, there is a real deep desire for ordinary people to understand why we have the level of police dysfunctionality and a seeming sense that justice is not done in the vast majority of cases, that we are at the mercy of criminals. But really the question is going to be, is that a consequence of a kind of political concerted project, as we've seen with multiple commissions to disband the Scorpions, to remove Vusi Pikoli from office, this concerted idea not to address the real issues that came out from Marikana, and is it a consequence of incompetence, malice, or malicious incompetence?
Yeah.
And I think that's really where, this commission is going to have to go.
Orange saying there are questions around whether or not the president will be called to testify. This is not the first time this issue of mining interests where the presidency gets mentioned. I was listening to Major General Petronella van Rooyen, who spoke about the PKTT and how it fell outside the minister's authority. But the minister had told Parliament that I discussed this thing with the president, and the president said, okay, cool. So they were aligned with the president about this. Even Fani Masemola said, I went to the president to make him aware of what Senzo Mchunu was trying to do. Do we know if the president will actually be asked to come and testify?
It's unclear yet, Clement, as much as we'd love to see President Ramaphosa appear before the Madlanga Commission to answer some of these allegations that have been put forth. I don't think we're likely to see it. We know that the ad hoc committee has made mention that he might be part of a new set of witnesses that is expected to testify. So that'll be interesting to see if he appears before Parliament and what he is actually willing to disclose around this. Senzo Mchunu, Fani Masimola alleges that Senzo Mchunu had a conversation with the president, and the president seemed to agree for the disclosure of, or the disbandment of this task team. But whether that's the case or not, we will have to hear from the president himself. I think the point that Major General van Rooyen, who's currently testifying, is making, that even if the president did agree with it, it wasn't a political decision for an operational task team, which falls within the mandate of a national police commissioner, for them to actually take that decision and issue that instruction.
So Karen, I think that maybe what we're going to get more at the commission is when Dumisani Khumalo appears, because as Oren said earlier, a lot of what Fani Masemola, or even largely what General Mkhwanazi have revealed is what he had revealed, most of it at that press briefing. So there hasn't really been more details. For instance, I've been looking forward to hearing about the drug cartels, the drug cartel that involves the judges, the judiciary, the prosecutors, etc. That really hasn't come out more clearly. Are we expecting Tumisani Khumalo to be the guy that brings in all the evidence and all the explosive information that most people have been waiting for to, of course, substantiate on what has been alleged?
Well, I mean, that's an important legal question because we know, Clement, that crime intelligence officials typically do not testify precisely because they are in the role of intelligence gathering. And intelligence is not the same as evidence. You can have suspicions about things, but can you prove it in a court of law? No, you can't. One of the most jarring moments for me, and I mean, was when it came out that Masemola, I think since January this year, had gone with Khumalo to the police minister and said, we believe that, the deputy national commissioner of this country, who is responsible for detection, who is responsible for forensic services, who is responsible for crime intelligence, is associated with organized criminals, is quote unquote friends with Kat Matlala. And, there was an initial investigation done, which apparently said, look, there needs to be a further criminal investigation, but he's cleared. But even now that, it wasn't raised as a basis for his suspension. But, the fact that you haven't been able to resolve that, surely that speaks to a level of dysfunctionality within the police that is absolutely unacceptable. For you as a national commissioner to come and say, by the way, we think that one of our lead guys is friends with a gangster, but we've done nothing about it. We're not even suspending him on that charge, I don't think is acceptable. So, I think that there may be a degree to which, there is this, these big claims that have been made about criminal complicity, which will need to be tested. And of course, all those people, Mkhunu, Sabir, all of them are going to be able to cross-examine these guys, in stage 2 of these proceedings, or stage 3, sorry. But I think that, it is deeply concerning that senior members of the police effectively believe that their institution is rotten to the core, but there are no cases currently in court to prove that, except for obviously the prosecutions of Kat Matlala, Katiso Molefe, etc. And I think there have to be real question marks over that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 21 minutes now after 11 o'clock. We're going to continue this conversation as we unpack what we have heard from the National Police Commissioner and the KZN Police Commissioner at the Madlanga Commission. What questions do you have? What inputs do you have? What picture has emerged for you over the last 2 weeks when these two individuals have testified before the commission? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers. Like Championship Boerewors, thick or thin for just R109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic Picanha Steak for only R190 per kilo. And Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink, 2 litres, 2 for R45. Save R11. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Traffic is trafficking. The robots aren't AI, but more like an eye roll. And service delivery isn't delivering. But luckily, Take-A-Lot is. Shop anywhere from beauty and sport to tech and toys at everyday low prices and get it delivered to your door faster than you can get home. Even when you take the back roads, a delivery so quick, the speed thrills. Halala with no limits. Just the open road of happiness before you. Take-A-Lot. Happy delivered.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of R2,000 per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Running a business is tough. You need tools that just work. That's why more South African businesses are switching to Mac. At iStore, we make it easy with 4,000 rands in added value when you switch. That's 3 years extended warranty and remote tech support, leaving you to focus on everything else. Switch to Mac with iStore, your expert partner. T's and C's apply. Mac at iStore runs smooth as business should.
The Akani Simbine Foundation is dedicated to building brighter futures for children by focusing on sport, education and welfare. Tomorrow on 702 Drive, we'll be in conversation with the Akani Simbine Foundation to find out how they're uplifting the next generation and how the Discam Foundation is helping fuel their mission to empower South Africa's youth. Don't miss this inspiring discussion about the power of collaboration. Remember, every swipe of your Discam or Discam Baby City benefit and card supports many great initiatives across the country. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. Only on 702.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
24 minutes after 11 o'clock, Oren Singh, our reporter with Eyewitness News, and Karen Mon, who's a journalist at News 24, with us this hour as we unpack what we have seen and witnessed so far at the Madlanga Commission, particularly the testimonies of the KZN Police Commissioner Ntantla Mkhwanazi and the National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Oren, I think one of the things that have become clearer here is that, Shadrack Sibiya is sort of on the firing line here, for lack of a better phrase. He's one person that's been linked to these business people here in Gauteng. I mean, Fani Masemola says at some point, people referred to him as Masemola's deputy because he knew so much. So he's got a lot to answer then about all these friendships, quote unquote, that he has with these, quote unquote, compromised business people.
I definitely think so, but I think Shadrack Sibiya himself as well will want to see the evidence if he hasn't been furnished with it as well. We heard the National Police Commissioner say that when they arrested Kat, they managed to get hold of his phone, and through his phone, getting messages that linked him to Sibiya, linked him to Brown Mokgotsi, and in turn linking this Kat Matlala to Senzo Mkunu. But I mean, we haven't seen evidence, Clement, and I think that's a point that Karen herself and the other journalists at the commission, we've been discussing to length about where's the evidence and when are the media going to get a chance to actually go through some of the annexures, the hundreds and hundreds of pages that both the National Police Commissioner and Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi had in front of them when testifying.
So this
as
is of the
commission.
Communication between Kat Matlala and all these other individuals.
Exactly.
He was in jail.
Exactly. We need to see that. We need to see the WhatsApp messages that have gone to and fro. And I'm sure Sibiya himself will want proof of that. But he has a lot to answer to. So does anyone whose name has been thrown out here at this commission. They've got a lot to speak to. The allegations are up in the air at the moment. People have to come and defend themselves and counter-argue as to the claims that are being put forward. But it's interesting, some of the stuff that even the National Police Commissioner alluded to, saying that these two detectives from counterintelligence in Gauteng that were investigating the cartels, be it Vusi Musi Kat Matlala or Katiso Molefe, they had at some stage been told by a senior officer in police that he's got an envelope for them, he's got an envelope for the magistrate, and he's got an envelope for the prosecutor. Who is that senior officer? Why didn't Fani Masemola tell us? If you're alluding to Shadrack Sibiya, can you not say his name? Who's the senior officer you're referring to? I think that's the one thing we're wanting to possibly see. Names. Who's the officers? Who's the prosecutor? Who's the magistrate? What are you talking to here?
Yeah, that's very tricky because, Karen, when you remember what General Mkhwanazi said on that July 6th press briefing was that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the judiciary basically is compromised because they are now implicated in this criminal syndicate of sorts. Do we actually know the evidence, right, picking up from what Oren says, from what we have seen at the commission so far? Has there been evidence of a judiciary, for instance, that is compromised beyond just what Fani Masemola says they were told about this prosecutor or even the judge that's going to receive this envelope?
Absolutely not. And that's the problem. And it very much came through in Mkhwanazi's evidence that the sort of objects of his unhappiness were actually magistrates who had granted bail conditions that he was unhappy about for his colleague, head of crime intelligence, Dumisani Kamalo. And so it was like, oh no, that because they have a bail condition that says you are not allowed to go to the crime intelligence officers, that is a restriction on them being able to take on these alleged gangsters, and that is an improper attempt by the judiciary to interfere. The bail condition was essentially said, you are implicated in appointing a manifestly unqualified 29-year-old BMW employee to a senior position in crime intelligence with no apparent security vetting, no police experience, allegedly, according to the IDAC, which of course have also been accused by Mkhwanazi of being implicated in this criminal scheme with no evidence again, that this was somehow the kind of machinery of a syndicate. Now, that's an immensely serious thing to say. The IDAC cases, on the face of them, appear to be strong. All the accused in that case, Clement, have the ability, as we have seen numerous times before, to bring, if an improper decision to prosecute has been made, to challenge it in a court of law. They have not done so. They are currently seeking an amendment of their bail conditions in the magistrate's court. Before a magistrate who now knows that if things don't go his way or their way, or he makes a decision that they're unhappy about, he has the real potential of being dragged as being potentially complicit in a criminal syndicate in a public, fully broadcast inquiry. And I mean, that is untenable. The State Capture Commission had its issues, but we never saw a scenario in which ongoing criminal investigations, another one against a crime intelligence official, he and his colleagues accused, this is the CFO, accused of involvement in a cover-up of his crime intelligence laptop, firearm, and cell phone by a sex worker, who is then tracked down by the police. Those items are recovered, and the entire thing is concealed. That is not a serious case. Again, the option of review is open. Yeah. So to go before an inquiry and to say these cases by the IDAC, which is put in place, are HR matters, that was the one argument that was made, that they do not have a basis, is highly problematic, particularly when you consider that the IDAC has confirmed in May this year that they are investigating Kat Matlala over that police tender, when it was in fact, according to Masemola, the IDAC who phoned him before that tender was awarded and said, this is dodgy, don't do it. And it is Masemola who goes ahead with the contract and then sits on an audit report for 103 days,
which led
initiated by Mkhunu,
which led to about 50 million rand even being paid because he took so long to act.
And you know what's so fascinating is, of course, on the day he acts is what? The exact day that they get those phone records between Kat Matlala and Brian Mkhotsi. So let's look at the timing. And he's not asked about that. Of course, when Mkhunu gets his chance to, he's got to explain why, in the name of everything that is sacred, would you have disbanded the political killings task team, a power that you clearly did not have? I mean, this commission is going to wrestle with that. We've heard that argument going back and forth with Van Rooyen as we speak. He's going to have to answer to that. Sabir is going to have to answer why he disobeyed and did not report to the National Commission and demanded those dockets. And why were they sat on? Why did nothing happen with them? All of those things will need to be explained. But is there currently evidence of a massive syndicated, criminal conspiracy? I don't think so. And what I particularly find problematic is that this suggestion by Mkhwanazi that anyone who questions crime intelligence or himself or criticizes what they've done or how they've done it with the military uniforms or whatever are somehow being bought by criminals.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that are saying Diane Collar Barnett now must recuse herself from the parliamentary inquiry, which Julius Malema was telling them, you guys are being ridiculous. Just because her name got mentioned there, now you are telling her that she has to recuse herself. But what was the basis of that? And what are you really following here as a parliamentary committee? I want us to talk more about this 300 million rand contract, because I think there are a lot of people that are avoiding accountability here that must face some tough questions, including Fani Masemola. That and also this issue of the BMW employee, because it looks like that is central really to this fight that we're seeing between these top cops. All of that coming up after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension. This is over suspected links to alleged underworld figure Vusmuzi Ket Matlala. Mkhwanazi is accused of supplying EMPD blue lights to Matlala, which were later installed on the alleged crime boss's personal vehicles in 2023. At the same time, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has heard that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu did not have the authority to issue an instruction to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team. This is part of the head of the SAPS's legal division, Petronella van Rooyen's testimony before the Commission this morning. And a memorial service is set to be held today to celebrate the life of slain National Taxi Alliance chairperson Thamsanqa Moya. Families and colleagues will gather at the Deep Blue Communal Hall for that service. Moya was shot and killed last week on the Soweto Highway while travelling alone to a meeting. Those are the headlines this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Amo, how are we looking?
Well, Clement, we still have got those delays on the N3 North due to those roadworks taking place right near the Baku turn-off. The traffic is queuing coming out of Marlborough Drive. And in fact, along Marlborough Drive, an accident has been reported after the N1 exit. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. Travelling in Bedford View, an accident reported on the N3 South. It's right near Van Buren Road. Delays from the Kiluli's turn-off. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Kiluli's interchange. If you're travelling along the Devland area, do expect delays on the Golden Highway due to roadworks taking place right near the N1. Delays towards Union Avenue. There's also faulty traffic lights there, so please be on the lookout and drive with care. I'm Amo Ramela, and that's your last traffic update from me. Otherwise, Karabo Jali will have your next report at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Do you want to buy a Honda? Cars.co.za. Toyota or Mahindra? Cars.co.za. Do you want to sell a Cherry? Cars.co.za. Suzuki or Mercedes? Cars.co.za. Polo, Kia, Mitsubishi, Havel, Hyundai, Lamborghini. Buy and sell, it's very easy. All you got to do is type Cars.co.za. 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 Let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za. Cars.co.za.
Saving on your business insurance is a smart business move and an easy win. Switch to OutSurance Business and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. For law firms, real estate agencies, computer services, and other industries, OutSurance Business are trusted experts in business insurance. Get a quote today. It's easy. Just call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
All cars are designed to move. A Mazda is crafted to move you. Every line, every detail, form in motion, beauty with purpose. So that when you drive, you connect. Car and driver become one. One rhythm. Builds, holds, breaks free. The feeling will find you. Mazda. Wonder awaits.
Calling all wedding planners and venues, restaurants, conference centers, and hotels. Do you need tables and chairs? Home in One has it all. Do you need cutlery, crockery, table linen, and restaurant equipment? Home in One has it all. Do you need tents, gazebos, or umbrellas? Home in One has it all. Affordable prices, the latest trends, with 2 branches in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Shop online at homein1.co.za because we're your #1 choice. Home in One has it all.
Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
22 minutes before 12 o'clock, we've got Oren Singh from Eyewitness News, Karen Mon from News 24, and we've just been unpacking what's come out of the Madlanga Commission so far. And I want you to call us on 011-883-0702 if you have something that piqued your interest or something that you still need clarified or something you were hoping would be clarified at the Commission. You can join the conversation by calling us on 011-883-0702 or sending us a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. Oren, was the National Police Commissioner really asked about the 300 million rand contract that Ket Matlala received? Did the commissioners get into that at all?
I don't think they got into it as much as they could have, Clement. I think he did speak to it. Obviously, he gave the backstory about it, reading from a prepared statement. And I think they just skimmed over it a bit. Obviously, this 360 million rand contract that CAT had received, he listed the companies that CAT was using, Medicare 24 Tshwane District. But I mean, a lot of what he was talking to, we already know. And kudos to Jeff Wicks for his investigations into this from News 24. But we knew all of these things. I mean, Jeff had even reported on the blue lights that Brigadier Mkhwanazi at EMPD 2 years ago, February 2023. And it's coming out now, and they're rehashing things that a lot of work that has gone in by investigative journalists. So I think he didn't speak to it at length, but the one thing he did say was that Senzo Mchunu raised the flag on the contract. Something that Jeff had reported on as well previously in his investigations. But it's important to note that while in many instances he was painting this picture of Mchunu, he didn't directly come out and say, kudos to the minister. The commissioners had to actually push him a little bit for him to say, kudos to the minister. He did a good job by raising the flag and asking us to probe this tender a little bit more and look into it. And that's when we uncovered, gross misconduct in the awarding of this tender, and we had to go back and actually cancel it.
Yeah, and Karen, for me, what is concerning for me is that you don't want to just take what Fani Masemola comes and says, and then we looked at this contract when Senzo Mchunu raised it, because then he will want to somehow take credit for, decision was taken that let's stop this tender. But we have got to ask some critical questions around why? Why was this even allowed? Because the audit report came and raised some flags and some issues that should have been picked up already by the SAPS. And even when there was a report from that audit committee, Fani Masemola didn't act on it. He waited over 100 days before he could act, which meant that there was monies that then were paid even to this company. How is the commission going to make sure, for instance, that matter comes through and there can be accountability on the part of the National Police Commissioner? Or is that what's going to happen now when Shadrack Sibia comes or when the police minister comes to try and demonstrate why Fani Masemola shouldn't paint himself here in a positive light?
Yeah, and I mean, it gets worse because when Jeff Wicks published that story on the 20th of December, which immediately 4 days later results in the minister then having this meeting and saying there needs to be an audit, he went into incredible detail showing why it was unlawful and why there was fronting. All the things that this Fani Masemola raises. I don't know how much of what we're hearing is actually from these guys' genuine intelligence and how much of it is from Jeff Wicks. I really don't know. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Because as you said, the blue lights, all of that stuff, there's no indication that there were independent investigations into that.
They haven't said anything.
That was all in-depth stuff from a journalist. And again, I say to you, what are ordinary members of the public supposed to see? Or think when that's the consequence? And, these allegations are made of rampant criminality and money being offered, but no charges are laid. No one is charged for that. There's no criminal prosecutions pending. And instead, it's this amorphous thing of these terrible people are basically decimating our legal system. But, we haven't brought a single one of them to trial. And by the way, we also say that IDAC, which is supposed to be the institution which is supposed to deal with state capture and serious corruption and criminality, is also compromised. But we're not going to reveal any evidence about why. And Clement, I can honestly say that my grave concern is that while it is clear that there's very strong evidence of political interference here, there are some real questions for Mkhunu, Sibia, Masemola, all of these guys to answer. My fear is that if this commission turns around and says, look, we can say that, there were some serious red flags raised about X, Y, or Z, but we can't say, for instance, that IDAC was influenced by criminals or the Inspector General of Intelligence when he was investigating massive alleged property purchases by crime intelligence, that was driven by criminal syndicates. Or Diane Kohler Barnard, where she reacts to press reports and issues a statement about those same property purchases. She was being, we can't say that she was being controlled by a criminal syndicate, and we vindicate all those people. Is there going to be then pushback of, oh no, the commission has also been compromised by the syndicate? And that's what genuinely concerns me, because any legitimate exercise of authority or power is never immune to questioning,
Absolutely.
is never immune to proper accountability for that upon which it bases its judgment. And my apprehension and my anxiety about the way that this entire thing is being responded to and the narrative that has been driven, particularly on social media, and the backlash that many of us have faced for raising simple questions about the evidence that underpins these very serious accusations, is deeply concerning about its implications for rule of law, our democracy itself, and the principles of open, transparent justice.
Yeah, absolutely, Karen Mon. Oren, I want to ask you now about, because there was a lot of debate. In fact, even on the show, we debated this, what Fani Masemola said about Senzo Mchunu and whether or not he allowed Senzo Mchunu to pressure him to end up implementing this unlawful, quote-unquote, instruction. From what you saw when he was being pushed on that, because Madlanga did try to ask, but what happens when someone who is in a position of authority, who shouldn't be involved in operational matters, gives you an unlawful instruction? Would you do that? And he mentioned that, well, yeah, but you must know that it's going to be career limiting. What did he do himself? What did he try to do when Senzo Mchunu gave him this quote-unquote unlawful instruction? And did he end up agreeing to implement it, albeit in a phased approach?
It's so interesting, Clement, because two dates pop into my mind from Fani Masemola's testimony: the 6th of March, 2025, and the 27th of March. He lists a series of dates building up to this instruction, and that once the instruction is given for the disbandment of this team.
Yeah.
But those two dates are important because he says on these dates, on the 6th of March, police top management were in Cape Town. They had just attended the Portfolio Committee on Police the day before, on the 5th, and on the 6th, they in this meeting to discuss the disbandment. Now, he approaches it from a winding down of the unit, all right? That's the phase that he had approached it. And at this meeting on the 6th, there is no decision. So Masemola alleges that there's no decision taken as to what we're meant to do with this unit. They take a decision that the dockets allegedly should be taken back to the station of origin. So those 121 dockets that have been the focal point of this discussion, a decision is taken there that they must be taken back to the station of origin. They then meet again on the 27th. And bearing in mind that Masemola alleges Mchunu is in these meetings, driving these meetings. And so is Mchunu's chief of staff, Cedric Ngabinde. And they are unable to come to a solution as to what are we doing with this unit, when's a specific date that this unit must be disbanded or winded down or whatever the decision needs to be taken. And nothing comes on it. So two dates that they sit to discuss these matters, nothing comes of it. So Masemola is painting a picture that Mchunu was neither here nor there with his disbandment instruction. He wasn't sort of interested in driving a conversation and getting to the finalization of this unit. But I think it's also important to note that he suggests that that Mchunu was up in the air with this whole thing, that he was being influenced by someone. This is what Masemola is saying. It's not coming from Mchunu. And we want to know who influenced him. But they don't give any sort of indication. They sort of allude to, could it possibly be his chief of staff, Cedric Nkabinde, that was whispering in his ear? But they don't actually provide us with anything solid.
What happened to the dockets? Because they had to be returned now. Who took the decision? Was it Fani Masemola who said, okay, bring back the dockets now that the decision has been taken to disband the political killings task team? How did they end up coming to head office?
And this is the thing that we're unclear about, Clement, because they say in these two meetings that Masimola initially says the decision was taken for the dockets to be transferred back to the station of origin. These will be mainly stations in KwaZulu-Natal, given the work by the Political Killings Task Team. But when he's asked by Justice Madlanga, was that a decision taken by everyone, put down on paper, and a decisive decision that this is what is meant to happen? He says, nah, it was kind of up in the air. It wasn't really a decisive decision taken by everyone in the meeting. And so essentially what happens is Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, so claims Masimola, takes the unlawful decision to instruct that those dockets be transferred to police headquarters in Pretoria. And that was not within his scope of work. He was not meant to take that decision. He also suggests that Sibiya was communicating directly with Mkunu and bypassing his reporting line in terms of reporting directly to him and going straight to the minister. But then again, all these people still have to come and testify at the commission. So we're going to hear counter arguments. And the one thing I'm also worried about this turning into a he said, she said sort of thing. You know, he's saying his point, I'm defending and countering it, but then where do we actually find the middle ground here?
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that Dumisani Khumalo is going to somehow bring in a lot of stuff, because they keep on referencing him that, yeah, maybe he can come. Unless, of course, his evidence is going to be in camera. But otherwise, I'm really placing my hopes on Dumisani Khumalo to give us more information. I really want to know, who are the judges that are compromised? Right? I really want to know, who are the judges that these envelopes were meant for? Because those people shouldn't be in the system. They haven't been mentioned so far. And what really has driven even the top cops to thinking that there are some judges that are involved in these criminal networks? We need to find those. And whether they testify in camera or not, I hope that other police cops, top cops that are coming, will be able to provide that level of information. Orenson, let me thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Thanks to Karen Mon as well, who is a journalist with News 24. After the break, I go to your calls now. Malungelo Tommy, I'll start with you. You can call us on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. 10 minutes before 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
We sometimes give people powers that they actually shouldn't be having. The ANC lost a significant portion of their power in the last general election. But parties in parliament have genuflected towards the ANC. The ANC does not have the power it ought to have. I'm saying that the problems we're experiencing now are of the GNU's making, because the ANC has not been held to accountability that they should be held to, given the fact that they've lost power.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Sir, ma'am, may I take your order?
Yeah, let me get the New York cut, medium rare, truffle fries on the side, and the lady'll have the salmon. Grilled, not poached. 2 dirty martinis. Real dirty.
Leafy, what's with the voice?
I came over all Tony Soprano.
Get into character on a city break with Premier Hotels and Resorts. Stay Friday and Saturday and get Sunday night for free. Book now at premierhotels.co.za.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.62% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit netbank.co.za.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
7 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's start with you, Malungelo in Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning. You're talking to me?
Yes, Malungelo. Go ahead, brother. What's
Oh,
your view?
yes. Oh, thanks, Clement. So, Clement, I just want to raise an issue here that, the whole separation of duties between the ministers and their director generals, in this case, Minister of Police, he's got a commissioner who is an operational guy who is a DG for all intents and purposes. So what I want to raise is that this issue is much more systemic than we all think. Because similar to the Minister of Police, you've got other ministers of other departments who are also overreaching in terms of the work of the directors general. You get me? Because the two functions are quite different, where the minister looks at the policy, look at the strategy, and then you've got the DG that looks at operations.
Yeah.
So this issue is much more systemic than we think. So I think with the addressing of the issue of the police department, I think we also need to highlight, what similar issues are happening in other departments.
Absolutely. And Malungelo, that's been clear to everybody, right? It's been clear to everybody that a minister or even a president shouldn't be getting themselves involved in operational matters of the SAPS. The National Police Commissioner knows that himself. The minister knows that himself. My goodness, even the president knows that. So, I don't know, maybe one of them forgot. Maybe Senzo Mkhweni forgot when he issued that instruction. But I'm not convinced. And I can't wait to hear how he's going to be answering that question. Why did he issue an instruction that is unlawful? He himself knows he can't be getting involved in operational matters like that. Why did he get involved? On whose interest was he acting? And did he tell the president? Is it as he told Parliament? The president agreed, they were aligned. Is that really the case? And why? What was the basis of his decision that this task team must be disbanded? Because surely you must have a report of sorts that shows you that, hey, this thing is not worth it. But in this case, the report that that has been spoken about is that there have been successes of this political killing task team. So why would you disband it then if it's managed to really get to the crux of some of the cases that were just collecting dust? Tommy, you calling from Roodepoort. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Hi, morning, Clement.
Sure.
Yes, after listening to the witnesses, my opinion is that there is definitely a turf war going on. Cases which would normally be handled by the Hawks, which would be Sibiya, not Sibiya, but which would normally be handled by the Hawks, were being diverted to the PKTT, and General Sibiya, in whose department these investigations would be happening, was then cut out because a unit underneath him, crime intelligence, was then used because there are specific rules governing crime intelligence to divert resources. And when I say resources, I mean your intelligence was given to the PKTT. Very good intelligence, and they worked on it, and they probably cracked cases that way. He might have been feeling that Mkhwanazi is an adversary of his, both wanting to become national commissioners or something like that.
Or Hawks
was
heads.
being given preference, so that he comes out as the blue-eyed boy of the police, That's what upsets here. And the other question to ask, the PKTT itself, is it a permanent structure or a temporary structure? If it is a temporary structure in terms of the police, the minister can say, look, our policy is that we've got a permanent structure called the DPCI, the Hawks. These cases were supposed to have been investigated by them in the first place, but people were in a clandestine manner creating a situation where the PKTT is needed. It goes to Fort Hare.
Yeah, no, got it, Tommy. And those will be clarified as well, I suppose, when the head of that political killing stars team, Dumisani Kumalo, also appears. It's 2 minutes now before 12.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Kumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mendi. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 kg stock country spread 40% medium fat spread tub for 45.99. Save 12 Rand with Spar rewards, or 2-liter Coca-Cola regular only. Buy 2 for 42 Rand. Save 14 Rand with Spar rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Competition ends 7 October. Price is valid 23 September to 7 October 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
How are you doing, Mandy?
Good, thank you.
Good. What's popping today?
So the Madlanga Commission, of course, is continuing. A new witness on the stand there. An urgent motion to remove Ekurhuleni's acting head of community safety, Julius Mkhwanazi, also related to the Madlanga inquiry. South Africa's sexual offences legislation is before the Constitutional Court today, and the RAF, the Road Accident Fund, making payments again. It's Thursday, and we have a book of the week. It's mine.
Who's going to interview you then?
No, I'm just going to play some audio from my interview with the president and with Helen Ziller and Gates and McKenzie, some behind the scenes that people won't get to hear otherwise.
Oh, wonderful. That's the Midday Report coming up with Mandy Wiener. Thank you for listening to the Thursday edition? Yeah, Thursday edition of the show. We'll be back tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension. This over, suspect Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is once again in hot water after a motion was tabled for his suspension.